Really? About I never know how long I talk. It's weird. Thank you. Yes.
Like a demon, it's sort of a different procedure than summoning an angel. So do you think,
The basic procedure is the same.
oh, is it?
It's all,
Well,
but the difference are who you're calling.
Isn't the intent different?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about the paraphernalia, the equipment, the
Okay.
setup of the ritual is pretty much identical. There's some minor changes, but the intention, of course, is different, and the name of the thing that you're calling is different, and the personality of the thing you're calling is different.
Right.
So those are differences, but they're mostly differences that happen when the ritual is taking place.
So do you think that the angels are sort of more like the quote good aliens, and the demons are more like the ones that would want to control us?
I won't use the terms good or bad necessarily because that implies a value judgment, right? And I have a problem with that because we're projecting human values onto something which is not. Dangerous or not dangerous maybe, but even then that's not right because angels can be damn dangerous, right? I mean, the angels that kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, right? I mean, so there's this idea that angels can be very strong, very forceful, very powerful, and very dangerous if you cross them. Demons can look really cool and nice and elegant and be very nice, but in the end, they're dangerous, right? In the end, you're lost. And with the angels, you might not be lost in the end, but you might not like being saved either, depending on what happens and what they have to do to you to save you. So it's hard, which is why the magicians, although they had all these documents going back thousands of years, each magician still had to do it on their own for themselves to see exactly what that was and how they related to that. And that's why they did the demons and the angels both. The idea was, if you're exploring your unconscious, if you're exploring your own neurophysiology, let's talk to all of them. Let's find out who they all are. And of course it's dangerous, but step by step, slowly but surely, do it and manage to contact everything and understand who you are in the process. Which sounds kind of new agey, but they weren't really thinking about it in those terms, but they were thinking about it in extending their power over all the regions, heaven and hell, which essentially meant the same thing. Well, I don't think you can. I mean, not using our normal way of looking at things. I'll answer yes and no. I started trying to get personal experiences. Okay, I'll tell you one personal experience, if you're good. This was in 1968, I guess, right around 1967, 68. A friend of mine and I were interested in all of this material, all this stuff, and he lived up in Pelham Bay Park in the Bronx, which at that time was a heavily wooded area, a lot of parkland and everything else, pretty remote. And we decided we were going to do this ritual taken from, basically from the Magus or Agrippa, same rituals. And it was going to be a Friday ritual, which meant it was Venus, that would be in the Venus hour, the Venus day, the Venus everything. And everything that we had to be attuned to that particular idea. It was copper and all, for Venus and all this other stuff. We had everything written out. And he was kind of a crazy guy. He had a lot of ritual vestments because he was really intensely involved in the Third Order Franciscans, which was a Catholic order for lay people. But he was just nuts. Okay, he wasn't just Third Order Franciscan. So he had vestments for Mass. He had chalices and ciboria and monstrances. He had the whole 9 yards. And I was a poor church mouse kind of kid, with parents who were splitting up and all the rest of it. So I didn't have access to any of that, but he did. He didn't have access to like the brains, but I did. So the two of us made a perfect combination. We made like one good magician between the two of us. So it was Friday, and we have all this stuff together, and we're gonna go out and do this ritual. But it rains, so we can't go out and do the ritual. So we say, oh hell, we'll do it tomorrow. We did it on Saturday. We did the Friday ritual on Saturday. Rule number 1: don't do the Friday ritual on Saturday, right? That's like rule number 1, like in the very front of the book. But we go and do it anyway. So we're there and we're burning incense, and we have the circle cast and all the stuff that you would see in the movies. We have all the equipment. We have sensors. We can do a whole high version of this.
Doggone.
And we're doing it, and nothing is happening. I start to hear a lot of noise, And it's like noise of something in the grass, something around us is moving. And it could have been an animal, could have been anything else. But he's like getting freaked, you know, and I'm thinking, cool. And but nothing actually is more than that is happening. So we're trying to, you know, force the issue. Nothing is happening. We don't know what the hell we're doing. So we close the circle, we close everything up, and we just, you know, dejectedly go home. And we go to his house. And in his house, he had this clock that his family had brought over from Czechoslovakia. He was Czech and Slovak, I'm Slovak. That's how we sort of bonded over there. So there's this beautiful clock that they've had in the family for, you know, decades. We come back in, the clock has stopped, and it never works again. It stopped at that moment we were doing the ritual. And his father freaked out about it. He was sort of mad. And his father was crazy too, that's another story. But his grandmother, the one who actually emigrated here from the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia at the time, she didn't like this at all. She knew there was something wrong with that, you know, that the clock had stopped. But that was all, right? So we go about our thing and everything else happens, and they build something called Co-op City. The largest housing development in the world at the time was in the Bronx, right there where we had done the ritual. And Section 5 of Co-op City was built right over the spot where we had done that ritual. And so I'm coming up later, you know, to visit my friend. It's like a year or two later. And he says, do you know what happened at Section 5? And I said, no, what? He said, the whole side of the building collapsed. All of the kitchens, all of the stoves opened, and the gas was escaping all the way up and down the line. And it was right over the spot where we did this ritual. And I said, you know, don't tell anybody. But I have no idea if there was any connection, but the rest of Co-op City was perfectly fine. It was only the area where we had done the ritual where this thing had fallen apart. So that's a story. You know, that's
Sounds so hard, Stargate.
Well, of course, he sort of dropped out and decided to become a bishop later, and that's not a
It's
whole
been
story.
a mind blower.
Being bishops and doing
He goes
bishop things.
lines a
17,
whole
18
bunch of
years
shit up. I'll post it with it. If I can get this one,
Yeah,
post
sure.
it. Make it short. Have a
Yeah.
good night. Peace.
See, but